President Thongloun Sisoulith received a courtesy call from Vice President and Head of Switzerland's Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ignazio Cassis, and his entourage at the Presidential Palace in Vientiane capital on Wednesday, August the 4th. The Vice President and Head of Switzerland's Federal Department of Foreign Affairs and his delegation paid their official visit to Laos from August 3rd to 4th. During talks with President Thongloun Sisoulith, Mr. Ignazio Cassis informed the President about the two countries agreed to enhance their long-standing ties and cooperation. On behalf of the Lao government, President Thongloun expressed heartfelt appreciation to the government of Switzerland for the support extended to Laos since 2006 to 2021, totaling more than 224 million Swiss francs in value. Swiss assistance covers various sectors through bilateral and multilateral frameworks such as culture, health, education, tourism, statistics, hydropower, governance, UXO clearance, natural resources, climate change, and other projects under humanitarian assistance.
On behalf of the Lao government and the Lao people, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the government and the people of Switzerland for the continued support to the Lao government and the Lao people in our effort for social-economic development over the past years. And especially when we are facing the COVID-19 outbreak over the past 1.5 years, we really appreciate the support and commitment expressed by the Swiss government to help us to overcome this daunting challenge of COVID-19 outbreak across the region as well as in our country. Let me also thank the Swiss government for the continued support in our socio-economic development plan, as well as the continued commitment that Swiss has pledged to help Laos in the next 4 or 5 years, the framework of which would be signed by Your Excellency and our Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Planning tomorrow. This is a reflection of continued commitment by the Swiss government to support Laos in our socio-economic development endeavor.
On Tuesday, Lao Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Sisoulith, held talks with Mr. Ignazio Cassis. The two parties agreed on their future direction and how to further elevate the tangible partnership between the two countries to new heights. Laos and Switzerland have agreed to enhance their long-standing ties and cooperation, with Switzerland promising assistance valued at 65 million Swiss francs to Laos over the next 4 years.
Express our satisfaction and by the Lao government to Swiss government on the continued support in different areas, ranging from education to hydropower and tourism. This extensive area of cooperation is another reflection of how extensive cooperation that Switzerland and Laos enjoys over the past years.
Lao Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Sisoulith, said, adding, "I consider this official visit by Minister Cassis to be a historic milestone to further strengthen and expand our friendly relations and growing good cooperation, both in bilateral and multilateral frameworks, for the common benefit of the peoples of our two countries in the future."
Our relationship has always been characterized by close friendship and cooperation. The current COVID-19 pandemic has even more demonstrated how important our relations are. The Lao People's Democratic Republic has proven very efficient in preventing major outbreaks. The risk, though, still remains, with the increase of cases in neighboring countries and Laotian migrants returning home due to the pandemic. In this situation, the quarantine camps where returning migrant workers are tested and isolated play a major role in preventing the pandemic to spread in Laos. I am thus pleased to confirm you an additional Swiss contribution of 500,000 Swiss francs, a little bit more than $500,000 US dollars, to support the quarantine camps and to ensure their continued operation during the next months.
On Wednesday, Laos and Switzerland signed a framework agreement between the Lao government and the Swiss Federal Council concerning technical, cultural, financial, and economic cooperation, as well as humanitarian assistance for 2022 to 2025. The agreement was signed by Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Planning and Investment Dr. Sonsai Sipandon and Mr. Ignazio Cassis.
With this agreement, our two countries will reconfirm the commitment to strengthen the economic and humanitarian cooperation. Our long-standing partnership looks to the future. Switzerland encourages the Lao Republic to continue its reform efforts. Reforms for an improved governance and business environment are important in order to boost the private sector, to attract foreign investors. Cooperation at a multilateral level was also an important topic. Switzerland is applying for a non-permanent seat in the UN Security Council.
In July 2021, the Swiss government provided meals worth $790,000 US dollars for supply to quarantine centers as well as COVID vaccines through the COVAX facility. Over the next 4 years, 2022 to 2025, Switzerland has committed to continue its good cooperation with Laos, aiming to contribute to the country's development priorities by focusing on three main sectors: governance and citizen participation, inclusive economic growth and climate change, and sustainable natural resource management, as well as humanitarian assistance amounting to 65 million Swiss francs.